Hey Frank, last time when we spoke, we talked about the probate part, and it seems that it takes some time to get it done, whether you're doing it yourself or you hire a lawyer. Can you tell me more about it?
Um, it does. That's a great question, Gary. And yeah, we did start talking about that. But I think that it's important to discuss the time it does take because I think a lot of people think and assume that it's it's a process that could be done fairly quickly. It's not.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
it
How long
is.
does it take on average?
Well, you brought up two different scenarios, and one is doing it on your own,
Yes, and
and
the
the
other
other
one
is
is
doing it with an attorney.
with attorney.
So
Yes.
let's talk about doing it on your own
Okay.
to begin with, and then we'll switch over to, and then I'll explain the differences between that and working with an attorney. Um, and we talked about certain circumstances where it makes sense
Mhm.
to do a probate, handle it on your own or improper last time.
Yes.
Um, so if you fall in that category of it makes sense to do it on your own, then the first step is you get the paperwork. You have to get all of the forms from the court.
Hmm.
Um, there are actually companies out there that will help you file. And you've heard of e-filing when it comes to, doing your taxes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a little bit like that. It's a little bit like that.
Hmm.
They will help you file a number of things. There's a cost to do that, but they do so much for you that it's worth every penny they charge. And I can't remember how much they charge, but it's definitely worth it.
Okay.
If nothing else, it saves you several trips to the court. So
Good.
once you start that process, it takes at least 30 to 60 days just to get a your first court hearing.
So
And
after you file it, it will take 30 to 60 days after file. So let's say I file today, May 1st, then it will take
yeah,
May, June, July 1st.
yes,
Okay.
it would take that long just so, and this is all done online. You will check, you'll see online that you have your when your first court date is. Um,
Wait,
and
Frank, can you file online? Like you mentioned that you go to the court to get the paperwork. Can you just do
you
it
will
online now that everything's electronic?
Okay, so no, you would be able to you'd be able to, if you use that e-filing system,
Oh,
you
okay.
would be able to file online and all the communication is online. You would get an email that will let you know when your first court date is.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get that done, once you get your first court date appearance, you go there. Um, if there are any errors that are part of of the probate process, they will also get an invitation to go
Hmm.
because the court wants to hear, okay, is everybody on the same page as far as you, Gary, being in charge of the probate?
Right.
Um, and family members could either say, hey, Gary, please, this is a lot of work, you do it. Or there could be one family member that shows up that says, wait a minute, well, I want to do it. So, and that's where it becomes complicated, and that's where you would want to get an attorney involved,
Right.
um, which we'll talk about in a second. But once you've had that court hearing,
Mm-hmm.
then now Gary's in charge of the family estate.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary, at that point, if the family has decided or you've decided that you want to sell the real estate property, you will be given a form that shows that Gary's now in charge of the family's estate and Gary can actually list the property with somebody.
Right.
Once you have that form, you can contact somebody like me who would list the property for you. Now, I know you understand the process. It's going to take 30 days to list the property, minimum to do a really, really good job of marketing the property, another 30 days of getting interested buyers. So, we said that we're at, I think, day 60, by the time you get your first court date, let's add another 2 months just to have an offer in front of you
Right.
that you've got accepted. Now we're at month 4. So you accept the offer. The buyer who buys the property typically asks for 30 days. Now we're at month five.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's say we close at month five.
Mm-hmm.
At month five we close, and you're thinking, and the rest of the family's thinking, cha-ching,
There's money.
we gotta, yeah, show me the money.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way.
What happened?
The money's not yours. The
Who's it
money
then?
belongs, it
The
belongs to the
state.
estate. It
Yes.
belongs to the estate.
So it goes,
Now,
does it go to a
so
special account then?
yes, you, Gary, you're in charge of the family, because you're in charge of the family estate. You open an account in the name of the family estate. The money goes in there,
Mm-hmm.
but the money isn't, you can't use that money. Well, technically you can. Let's say if you have expenses for,
Yeah.
let's say there were, something that had to be done, a
Mm-hmm.
minor repair on the property. You could use, yes, you can use that money to make repairs, but technically the money's not yours and you do not have access to that
It
money.
belongs to the state.
Correct. So now we're at almost 6 months.
Yeah.
There's still a number of appearances that have to go through the court, including the court actually has to provide their own appraisal of the property.
Wait, you sold
You
it
have
already though.
That's right, you already sold it.
Well, there's nothing to
Um,
appraise.
there's well there it, Technically there is, because the court wants to know what it's going to appraise at. Um,
Okay.
so the court still requires that of you. So there's that. You have to come up with a list of all of the final inventory, and that includes the property. And that's where that number comes in. The court wants to see what the court appraises it at, even though you might have sold it at a different number. So
Well, the buyers usually have an appraised value. Would that work?
No, no,
Okay.
the court wants its own number. And again, that's another, 30 days added to the transaction. So the bottom line is the we're at if I'm keeping track correctly,
Month
we're at about
six.
month nine
Oh, okay. Yeah,
when you
because
go
you,
in when you yeah, right. When you go into the court and you say, okay, we've sold the property. Here's a list of all of the assets, including here's the money that came from the sale of the property. We're now ready to distribute the money to the family
oh,
members.
right.
So, so we're almost at the end of the year,
Yes.
and we're barely talking about the family or you having access to the money that was in the estate's account. So
Well, end of the
if I
year
did the math,
makes for a nice Christmas present for everybody.
if you start in January,
Yeah.
you might have it done by Christmas. Yes, if you do it on your own.
So,
Okay, so that
go ahead.
okay, does that make sense, Gary?
Yes, so far so good.
Okay, good. Now, if you were to use an attorney, you're going through the same process.
Mm-hmm.
The attorney is doing the exact same things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the attorney is going to obviously do a better job for you, and they're going to do it they know the process.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, because it still has to go through the court, and the court has to assign court dates.
Mm-hmm.
Even a very experienced probate attorney will take you'll still be looking at least about 9 months before anyone actually receives funds from the sale of the property.
So let me get this. Even if you hire an attorney, it doesn't expedite the process because it's up to the court and the court dates and the court appearance. So what's the
No,
benefit?
it will expedite the process, Gary, and
Oh,
it'll
okay.
expedite the process because they know what you're doing and you don't.
Oh, that's my learning curve.
That's your learning curve. You're gonna make mistakes. You're and
And
um
okay,
you're
got
gonna
it.
make mistakes. You're going to do things incorrectly, or you may not do things on time, which which is why I'm saying it drags it out to about a year. A good probate attorney would be everything after everything is said and done, and you can have the most experienced probate attorney because they are still um, they're still relying on the court and the court dates that the court provides.
Mm,
You're still looking at about 9 months. Um, so it is not a quick process. A lot of
mm.
people think, oh well, grandma died. and we need the money, and
Yes.
we're in a good real estate market. Let's get the property sold
Hmm.
so that I can have my money in 30, 60 days. Not going to happen. It will take several months,
Ooh,
whether you do it on your own or with an attorney.
got it. Well, there you have it. Frank, our time is up. So let's continue this conversation in the next round then.
Okay, sounds good, Gary. I hope the time frames made sense.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of the same from what I gather. It's just that with attorney, there's no learning curve, so there's less mistakes. And most likely than not, if you do on your own, you will make mistakes, which in turn will delay the whole process for you.
Correct. That's
Okay,
correct.
well, awesome. I'll talk to you next time, Frank.
Okay, talk to you next time, Gary.
Mm, bye.